Last week, we learned how to identify the topic of a text or of a passage. The topic is what the passage is about. So last week, we read some passages and we determined the one or two word topic about what that passage was about. Today, we're going to extend that and we're going to build from the topic to determine the key details and the main idea of a passage. The topic is what the passage is about, and that's what we've been practicing. Key details of a passage are the important details that you learn about the topic. These are important details that you find as you are reading, that you are learning about the topic. And then we come down to the central or main idea. These two words are going to be used interchangeably this year. So we're going to become familiar with hearing it as both central idea and main idea. It means the same thing. The central or main idea is the most important point about the topic. This is where we're summing up all of the details that we were reading, and it's the most important point about the topic. We're going to be using this graphic organizer of a house to help us understand how these three parts work. The topic is at the bottom of our house. The topic is the foundation of our house. That one or two words that tells us what we are reading about is going to build the rest of the house. And without that foundation, the rest of our house is going to fall. From the topic, we have our key details, which act almost as the pillars of our house that are supporting our house. The key details are those important facts or details that we are learning about the topic. And notice how these three details support the roof or the central or the main idea. Our central or main idea is coming and being based upon our details. Our details are supporting the main idea. If one of our details does not support the main idea, it's like it's not even there. And without these pillars to support our roof, our house is going to fall apart. We have to have our three key details here to support our main idea. We're going to see how this process works today as we go and read one of the passages that we looked at last week. We're going to be identifying the key details that we learn about the topic, and we're going to see how those three key details support the central or main idea. Last week, we took a look at this passage and we determined that the topic was the moon. Today, we're going to read this passage again and we're going to determine what are the key details that we are learning about the moon, and then what is the overall main idea the author wants us to take away. At some point in your life, you've probably looked up, gazed at the moon, and studied it in wonder. Throughout time, the moon has inspired many people. In 1801, Ludwig van Beethoven composed a piano piece called Moonlight Sonata. Later, in 1889, Vincent van Gogh painted The Starry Night. In this painting, swirls of white and yellow create a halo around the moon. In 2011, Marilyn Singer wrote a book called A Full Moon is Rising about how people all over the world celebrate the moon. The next time you gaze upon the moon, maybe you'll be inspired by it too. We've already determined that the topic of this passage is the moon. And now we're going to look for the key details that we learned about the moon and the main idea.